What's up guys, it's Aisling. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a review of a palette. I don't think I've done this in a long time and I got sent the Urban Decay Wild West palette recently in PR. I don't know why it was so late coming in PR because I feel like this has been out maybe like 4 or 5 months, maybe even 6 months, so it's been on the go a while, but I just recently received it and I'm always super grateful for any PR that I get. It's great because it allows me to discuss it with you guys. So the way I'm going to structure this video is I'm going to do like a little overall kind of like review on it, and then I'm going to do my eyeshadow look, which I'm wearing today. Then I'm going to do some swatches for you along with my final thoughts on this palette. So if you guys are interested in seeing my full review of this palette, then just keep on watching. I feel like this lipstick is really pale and does not go with this look. This is what the palette looks like. It comes in a plastic container like the ultraviolet, like the cherry. I don't know if the honey one was that or it was a tin. I never actually got that palette. Whereas the previous Naked palettes, number 2 and 3, came in like a tin container. So personally for me, I actually prefer the reloaded packaging. I just really like the way it's like magnetized. I just feel like that's just so much easier. I prefer that kind of packaging, whereas I feel like this one's just a little bit bulkier, seeing that it's like a little bit bigger on the sides than the reloaded. I really like the kind of colour story going on here. It gives you kind of an idea what you're to expect on the inside with the warm browns and the teal. The Naked is obviously in gold, but you guys are interested in the shadows, I know, and they look like this. There is a good mixture of warm and cool tones in there. I do feel like the cool tones are quite complementary of this palette. Like they're not too cool where they're not going to work together. For instance, like this very cool tone shade here, which is called Pony Up, and then Text beside it, I feel like they would pair very well with like some of the warmer tones like Ghost Town, like Hold 'em. I just like the mixture of cool tones and warm tones. I do feel if you took away the 2 teal shades here, you're kind of left with a basic neutral palette. So you can kind of see there, it's just, you know, like I said, a basic neutral. However, I do feel that those shades make this palette, and if you are keen on like a pop of color, they're a great addition. From using this palette today, I feel like this is bog standard Urban Decay quality in their shadows. They are very, very pigmented, really easy to use. I had no problem with blending or applying to the eyelid. They just, you know, they applied so effortlessly on the lid. And I have been using like different eyeshadow palettes, obviously like Natasha Denona and like Sigma. I can still say that the quality of the Urban Decay is up there. The only downside that I had to this was that some of the matte shades were a little bit powdery. The shimmery shade that I did use, Rustler, was really easy to use and it was very pigmented. I didn't need to use a setting spray or anything like that to make it more intense. It worked really, really well. And like I said, just a little bit of powderiness from the matte shades. We have 2 kind of like glitter shades and then like 2 shimmery shades, and then the rest are all matte, so 8 matte shades. There are some shades that are quite unique that I don't have in any other palette. Like I feel like Ghost Town, like even though it looks like something you'd be able to dupe quite easily, it is very unique. And Whiskey beside it, I know it's a warm tone brown shade, but there's ever so slightly almost purple to it. I've definitely seen Bud and Tex from like Inglot. Hold 'em is not really anything different, being a standard kind of gold shade. I feel like maybe in the Honey palette you could probably have gotten something similar to that. For my Sigma Ambience palette, there's a lot of golds in that. Like I feel like maybe the shade Sunflower here could be duped for that Urban Decay one. Yeah, they are pretty similar. Sunflower is a little bit more yellow, but I feel like on the lid you may not be able to tell a huge difference. The only reason I'm comparing it to the Sigma palette is just because I feel like the colour story is quite similar. Like Ghost Town, you have Oasis, Whiskey. I know I said that it's quite unique, but Sunspot could be similar to it. Obviously Pony Up and Text, you're not going to get anything like that. Rustler could be compared to Candlelight. Again, you're not going to get Lorendo or Cowboy Rick because they're more in the cool spectrum. Hold 'em, again, like I said, Sunflower. Nudie would be similar to Bass. There's nothing like Spur in this palette, but Standoff is the same as Days. So that's just kind of my most recent palette. You can see that there is an awful lot of shades that you could kind of dupe. So if you do have something like the Lavish palette, then you possibly will not need this unless the pops of colour and the cool tones are something that you really want to pick up. Currently this palette is $43.50 on Look Fantastic or Feel Unique, one of those websites I saw just this morning. And then you can get it on the Urban Decay website, I think for 52 to 54 euro. Again, for a high-end palette, it's pretty standard price, and again it's not too different to any other Urban Decay palettes pricing wise. I think I've covered most bases with this palette. I do actually really think it's a great palette, especially for a starter palette. If you don't have that many eyeshadows in your collection and you're looking for something that has this color story, you want something neutral but with those pops, then I would definitely pick this up. I really like this because of the pops of shades, and I feel like that's something that I'm getting back into. You know, in the summertime I like to pop like maybe like the teal or like a blue or something under my lower lash with like a neutral eye. I just feel like that goes really, really well. And again, if the neutral shades are right up your alley, then you will really, really enjoy this palette. I do enjoy the mix of cool and warm tones in this, and like I said, you can use them all together. I feel like they go together in a nice color story. And from all the shadows that I've used today, they blend really, really nicely on the eye. I really enjoy Urban Decay's eyeshadows. I always have. I possibly always will. I feel like they keep the quality while making them really blendable, and they're really easy to use. Like, there is no eyeshadows out there for ease of use as Urban Decay. So they're kind of my major thoughts on the color story here and the packaging and the quality of the shadows just from using them today. If you guys are interested in seeing the eye tutorial, that will be coming up, and then the swatches will be straight after. I'm just going to remove the brush first. It looks like this. It's clear in the center. It's double-ended like all the other brushes. I think it's similar to all the other Urban Decay brushes in the past, which I never really cared for them. I'm going to start off with the shade Spur here. Like, it's like a peachy shade, mandarin shade. It kind of has like a yellow base to it, but I'm just going to pop that through my crease to start off this look. Ooh, wasn't really expecting a lot of color payoff from that because it just looked kind of similar to my skin tone, but it is giving good color payoff there. And I haven't used Urban Decay's eyeshadows in so long, so I'm really keen to see how they blend out. I'm going to take a nudie, which is right beside it. I'm going to position this kind of in the same area, just bring it a little bit lower than the initial color. I'm going to next take a deeper shade, so I'm going to go in with Ghost Town. It's like this reddy brown shade. It's absolutely stunning in the pan, so I'm hoping that kind of transitions onto the eye. And I'm taking it on an E38 brush from Sigma, and I'm just going to pop that on the outer portion of my eye, bringing it like, ooh, bringing it through my crease. Wow, I literally tapped my brush in that, and the amount of color payoff. That is a gorgeous shade, and it is very, very pigmented. I wasn't, like I said, expecting that. So I'm just going to keep it like focused towards the lash line on the outer V, and then just bringing it a little bit through my crease, maybe like 2/3 of the way in. And again, just kind of blending it up through that nudie shade. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shade Rustler. I'm going to apply that all over the lid. Kind of has like reflex of almost gold in it. I don't know if you can see that. So it's not like a straight up copper shade. I want to build up the outer corner, and I'm going to take the shade Whiskey Purple Base Brown. Pop that out here. Going to blend it through the crease and kind of build up the intensity. And I'm going to go over that Rustler shade. Gonna go back in with that blending brush and just kind of blend out the crease. Just gonna take my brush ink pen and I'm just gonna do a wing liner. I'm gonna pop on a bit of my mascara. This is the Legendary Lash from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to take Nudie and I'm just going to run that across my lower lash line with just a small pencil brush. And I just want to build it up a little bit, so I'm going to take Ghost Town and I'm just going to bring that just a bit closer to the lash line again, from inner to kind of 2/3 of the way out. And then on the outer corner, I'm just taking a really small brush again. I'm going to take Whiskey and just pop that on the outer, just kind of like tying the top and the bottom together. And I'm also going to just place black liner in my waterline. I just popped a bit of mascara on my lower lashes, and I'm just going to take Standoff, which is this shade here, and I'm going to pop that underneath my brow bone up above. I'm just going to pop on some lashes. I'm going to take these ones from Huda Beauty. They're in the style Olivia, number 18. So I'm just going to show you the palette and the eyeshadows up close, and then the swatches. Some of them didn't swatch as well as they applied to the eye. So swatches aren't always a telltale sign of how a shadow will perform. So first off we have Standoff, then Spur, Nudie, Hold'em, Cowboy Rick. Then we've got Laredo and Bud. Next, my personal favourite, Rustler. And then we've got Ghost Town. Next up is Whiskey, Tex, and then Pony Up, which I feel like the three of them didn't swatch as well as they applied to the eye. Okay guys, so just my final thoughts on this palette. Like I already stated earlier, I feel like this is a really great like starter palette if you were looking for just a couple of pops of colour but you really want to focus more on the neutral. It introduces you to cool tones as well. Like for myself personally, I used to find cool tone eyeshadows a little bit overwhelming. The Urban Decay Naked 2 was my first introduction to any cool undertoned eyeshadows, and I really enjoyed it. So I really feel like Urban Decay hit the mark when it comes to eyeshadows, especially getting like that colour story across with the Wild West here. I just feel like they really hit the ball out of the park. I rather enjoy this. I think it swatches really well, and I think it blends out really well on the eye. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you pick up this eyeshadow palette, and this will be one that I'll keep in my collection for a while. I feel like if I bring this palette with me away traveling around, then I'm one and done and I don't need anything else. The only thing I wish that it did have would be possibly a more deeper shade than Whiskey, but I understand that it's kind of like that, a Wild West theme. Like you're not going to throw a black eyeshadow in here, because when you think of Wild West, you're thinking of like sand, you're thinking of warmth, you're thinking of the colour of the buildings, that dark kind of brown wooden exterior, so you're not thinking too much along the line of a black eyeshadow. So I do feel like this is true to the colour story. If you guys are interested in picking this up, I'll link it down below. I just want to say thank you to Urban Decay for sending this out so I could try it out for you guys on camera, and I personally really enjoyed this and think that it's a good purchase if it's something that you were kind of considering picking up. Thank you so much guys for watching today's review. If there's any other eyeshadow palettes that you would like for me to review, then definitely let me know and I can pick them up. I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.